So Aaron talked with, I we have several computers that we're gonna have to replace before the end of the year because they're gonna go obsolete. Because they have Windows 10 and then all that.
Because why?
They won't run on Windows 10. I had already planned on doing mine. And she asked about the contract and then being out here a couple days a week. They talked about it, but Tim told me he didn't think it was necessary, so they didn't write it.
That was not the way it was supposed to be. Okay, we'll discuss that too. And this is if we have today. You know, regulations, statutes, whatever, resolutions. Yeah, if not, we can make one, there you go. Discuss that too. What is
My oldest grandchild this weekend, had a lot of fun.
You get
She's
to-
9.
Oh, that sounds like
Going on
fun.
30.
Yeah, sure. And you cross all off the list. Oh, that is on Pat running from the old.
Okay. Okay, we're just laying.
Yep. Just in case we need to refer to that or anything. So that might be one to ask Todd about also. Because I don't think it's right to do to say no, to get money, no.
this morning?
Great, how about yourself?
Oh, and we called them. It's really
No,
not.
it's not, it's very well here. What are you doing?
Oh, maybe they did. I thought about coming, and I told myself that every time, show us, you know. I said it was pretty interesting.
It's unfortunate that it's dominated by special ed, you know, and there were a lot of questions, it seemed like there was a lot of statements, and nobody, I wanted to ask the president about it, but I didn't know days of it.
And you know, as I sat there, it's like, okay, this meeting should have been before the legislature ever started, so that these people could have said, because it's too late to do anything now.
But did you hear what they said? This was, I thought this was interesting, everyone said that you cut our budget. Mark even said that this morning, he said, well, the legislature cut our budget. He said, well, they did. The budget's the same as it was last year, plus 10 million.
Right, right.
That's not cutting the budget.
But they wanted more, right? I mean, they cut it
They
back.
wanted 20 million more. than
Okay,
what they got.
okay.
But they wanted 30 more. I just, when did it, state budget already, is it 50 or 60% more state budget goes to education already?
Right, you know, I'm saying, it's like,
You know, here's the other thing that I really struggle with. You have schools that have all these hundreds of thousands of dollars left over from COVID. They're building new tracks, they're building new gyms, they're building all this stuff. Why don't they funnel that money into that special education instead of asking for more? I really struggle with that because, I mean, some of these school districts are struggling to figure out what to do with this money. And it's all juggling the numbers. I wanted to say something to the superintendent, so I wanted to say, okay, what do you need left over, whatever, all that, yes, or ESSER funds, or whatever. Not the place.
right. Yeah, I'm saying, a lot of it should just,
Did you know any of the people
which,
that were dominating kind of conversation? I didn't know who that was.
well, the woman was the special. ed.
Right, she's from here.
Yeah, yeah. Now, the lady who asked about the lottery and stuff, I had no idea who she was. The lady that sat beside me, and the last question, you know, about basically about abortion, whatever, that was that Diane. She's a realtor, used to be a realtor.
Oh,
No. She had a partner.
oh. She works my election board.
She what?
She works my election board.
Yeah, she burned
I
out.
just went on. Stacy's her partner.
Stacy who?
Morgan, yeah. White.
I had never seen that lady.
She's really nice.
Yeah, that's one of the big house cut off, what she didn't believe, because it was like one of the,
That's when you walk in and listen to the word and walk out.
By December, I'll get it.
Sometimes I argue with myself. I'll just make it up.
And you know, is there a flag over there in that room?
No, we will take them.
Okay.
Okay, fix that one.
All right, at 9:00, local meeting with pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, just got a couple things here right now. Before Road and Bridge gets here. This is some more water pollution control things, just for information purposes only. Let's see, on here. City of Fulton's on here. City of Netawaka. Looks like it. So we want to look at this. Just telling you who's there, like I say, it's City of Fulton, City of Netawaka. I'm looking forward to Thursday. I'm looking forward to Thursday.
No.
We have a request from Jackson County Junior Reader Program. It's an initiative of the United Way of Tall Valley Young Leaders Society, trying to get books out to elementary school kids. Have we done this before?
Never heard of it before.
Is this a new thing you're doing? That's what I'm.
Is it our area?
Yes. Harley Keeling is one of them, that is. So United Way Junior Reader, Friends Book, Beck Bookman Library, Holt Elementary, Jackson Heights Elementary, Rural Valley Elementary. I'll pass this down to let everybody take a look at it. It's through the United Way, so. All right. No, I'm still on the, let me double check. I'm still on the administration, internet, not the commissioner, so no, I can't get cleared. So we need some giant up here too, if I need to come up or leave the computer or whatever.
We're supposed to. We just need to have a switch to it.
That'd be great. If I could hit the printer, just like I said, I'm trying to find it. Take it, I can't get it.
Maybe I'll just see if this can just switch over to that one, 'cause I think this is the one that
Okay. That's fine with me, however we want to do it, I don't care.
This camera isn't. Katie, would you ask for your image on it, and just ask if they can switch the printer down here to the admin manager? Yeah.
Get all your notes from Saturday written?
Oh, man, no, I haven't thought about it. I'm like, I'll do it later, I'll do it this afternoon. There's a lot that was touched upon, so, we'll see what all I can get in there.
Thoughts?
I'm not in favor of sponsoring
Okay.
the amount of money that these schools have sitting there, again, just what I talked about, they can buy all the books in one. That's fine.
Any Mosley?
Well, I thought they got books from, there's always been in the paper before where they hand out books from somebody or
I think it's Dolly
somewhere.
Martin or something, yeah.
Yeah,
But
but I
I'd
think
really
there's-
like to know a little bit more about it, or thinking
Exactly.
about it, so I mean,
I
that's,
know.
I think we just need to, if they want to, come in and talk to us about it, tell us what it is, rather than just send us a letter, I think that'd be a good thing to do, so, whatever, that's up to them.
Because I did think there was another group that brought.
And that, they're getting out of it. So,
Yeah, and the other, the money side of it, where would that money come from?
Yeah.
I have an update, Mark, whenever you want to put me in for the fire department, for the meeting I went to the other night.
perfect. One, we're gonna talk about the conservation district meeting, everything, so we'll turn that in here. Good morning.
Some of that update may come during, the fire meeting the other night.
Oh, okay.
How are you doing?
Not too bad. You guys,
Great.
good weekend?
You bet. Go ahead and jump right into you.
Got it right away. Okay.
Everything good?
Where's that?
198, Carl and Mary and Jordo's
Oh,
property there.
yeah.
Oh, you do? And this one is on Rural Water District 3, Board Key Road. 2951 Key Road. That's that way, so that's Key Road. Yep. So new residents, this one? Correct. Everyone see?
It's a board, sorry.
Yeah.
And, this is our annual report for the noxious weed. All of them signed. Response.
I think they'll, just, I think it's proposed legislation at some level that want to take glyphosate away or doing something before you really know about it.
Take what away?
Roundup.
Roundup.
No, I just, yeah, sure. So you haven't heard anything about that?
No.
Is that a report that goes to the state?
Are we doing on Lespedes and Muscus, or are we getting ahead of it a little bit, or?
It is,
Oh, yeah.
the last of these especially, you know, the people who have really gone out and tried when we sent letters out to them.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of individuals that don't believe that noxious weed law is actually a law, and they're follow it. So, other than that, everybody seems to be right on top of it. It is something you just not gonna go out and spray one time and be done with it.
No. Well, I will say that, when I was able to spray, a large area, rented one of the sprayers down in Oxford, we went out and sprayed a large area, and, I could tell the difference, you know, with that, so, but the next year, or that fall, I tried to get out and do it, that spring, I tried to get out and do it, and unfortunately, couldn't get down the road to do it, so, you know, I was just out, so. But we're working on it.
Like I said, possibly.
Now, is this the employees that were there during that time? So we got Leon and Don down here on this report.
Yes.
Okay, that's, so
Yeah.
they won't be on next year's, okay.
No.
All right.
You agree with the figures?
No?
You agree with the figures?
Yeah, I agree.
Christie, would you be able to run just a short report on the money that we get in from the alcohol and what's appropriate and what isn't? That was part of our conversation later here.
Can I have just a copy of that?
This is the same report you do annually, or did you see anything in it that, this is the last year, that's, you know, just, that's like, don't know how many gallons we sold.
so many acres you go out and survey each year. And,
Right.
yeah.
Because this is one of those unfunded things
Yes.
that requires us to handle all that.
But there are no unfunded mandates for the state.
I didn't get to ask that.
Did I say that?
Saturday.
You did it, you did?
I didn't.
No, you didn't get to ask it, okay.
You would
Couldn't
have
get a
had,
word in edgeways.
you would have had to jump on it.
Is the pricing gonna remain about the same for the chemicals this year, or?
I think so.
Okay. I don't want any surprises when I come down there.
Like you, it would be a special price. It is. Amazing.
All right, what else? we got?
Okay, the conference down here for the landfill that we have every year, with Swan. I guess the president of the, Hams had talked to Ed about getting a contract with us, because we've never had a contract for dumping the, dumpsters right there. So, never talked to me, never said a word, so got back, he had sent an email to us about trying to set up, a contract, before the end of the year. He said he would get a contractor on up and to us, and never did. So, we just assumed that we forgot about it, and on our way.
Well, isn't it their dumpsters and their trucks that are hauling and everything else, so?
Yes. So, anyway,
Okay.
got our first bill here, and it's $100 higher, per dumpster than what happened. You know, last year they went up $150 a dumpster, now they come up another 100, without any notice. So, kind of in the middle of that right now, we've talked to him, because he's saying that we never contacted them about doing this, and
He's saying this?
yes, and according to the emails we have from him, he was gonna put a contract together and contact us, and never did.
And
So,
and you said he reached out to Ed?
he talked to Ed down at the conference. He was telling Ed that we need to get a contract done.
Why would he reach out to you?
I couldn't understand.
And did Ed say something to you?
He did, good. And like I said, then we did an email from the guy, saying that, you know, we
I
need
would-
a contract together.
I guess I would hire the extra $100.
Well, that's how we're at, you know, it's,
What do you guys say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see
We're not,
where.
we're still under the old contract.
We got no
well, we
notice.
never had a contract.
We didn't have to, yeah, we didn't have a contract, but I mean, we got no notice, we got nothing, and when, if you have the email trail that shows that they said they would contact you and get you a contract, and they never did, then that's on them, not on us. I just, you know, not pay the $100, and you wanna get a contract or
Kind of the
legal,
road we're heading down, so.
tell them we wanna get a contract or legal, then we'll review it and, go from there, but until they do, we're sticking to the old price, we got no notification they're gonna raise it.
What are our other alternatives?
One of the options we're looking at is other vendors, someplace else.
Are there other vendors?
Couple, Rich Martin and that new community town. LSR.
LSR or LRS, something like that, yeah.
Check.
Do you have a contact?
Huh?
Do you have a contact person there?
No. Darlene's getting that. She sent out emails the other day.
Pete Ritchie used to be their head guy there in Topeka. We had, the only reason I know that is because he had come out and visited with us about using LSR beer, but they don't go this far or something.
Yeah.
It didn't work out. But
Yeah, no.
I do. I'll just forward you their contact.
Okay. went down with Keith, met down there, fire department there, and Boyd the other day, fire, marshal, I guess.
Yeah, the fire chiefs had their
Fire chiefs.
monthly meeting and,
Yeah, last Wednesday.
yeah.
So met with them and.
And Pat was there.
Yeah, Pat. I said, very good meeting, got to work some details out, you know, like when they need help, and, you know, we're gonna help them out. You know, that's what we need. We got contact information now, who to call, and who the blade operators are in their areas, and they can call them direct if they can't get us, or if it's an emergency, if the president goes for all the counties, just go direct to them.
Basically worked out some of the details too of who's gonna make contact, with the blade operator in their area. We don't want 14 different firefighters calling, we want one person. And we're not gonna go blade every road to get them in, you know, it's to get someone into a fire and they'll follow them in. We agreed that, you know, they were stuck with their fire equipment, we would assist in pulling it out, but we would not pull out personal vehicles.
Individual gift, yeah.
Too much liability there. Just some things like that. I think it went over, I think it was a really good meeting, very productive. They have an updated version of what roads we handle, what roads the tribe currently is allowed to maintain. And we also stated that if for some reason tribal wouldn't respond on a tribally maintained road, that we would, because they had that situation here, I guess, this winter.
Yeah, exactly.
They had to carry a guy out on the backboard for a half a mile because tribal wouldn't show up and blade the road.
So we need to
Based on their-
document those cases too. We need to document those cases.
I don't know, you know,
I know, I mean, no, seriously, we need to document those cases because if those are roads that, we've allowed the tribe to take over and the tribe is refusing to come out and do them, so we're jumping in and doing them, then we need to document those situations.
yeah,
You know why they wouldn't do it?
yeah, I know. No, it was their fire department, I believe, and some of our volunteers, or some of the
Yeah.
volunteers from the Delia area, and said that, well, this was per the fire chief from Delia, so he just said they had to make a homemade backboard and carry them out half a mile, because they couldn't get them, to open the road up to get to it.
Okay? Like I
So-
said, we need to, those situations need to be documented. We need to have records of that.
That way, you know, if they run into those situations, we just go, get to know your blade operator in your area, so that, you know who they are, you know, how to get hold of them, but we don't want everybody having their contact information.
Right. Yep.
That was a
So
very
they-
productive meeting.
in each area, then they're gonna have one representative who is going to make contact. Fire chief's gonna make contact, okay, perfect.
We also gave them copies of our maps for the FAS routes, school bus routes. That's one thing I was gonna bring up too, is I did get information from Point Van down here, and actually got a computerized version of our map. And last week I went in and filled out the bus routes for down there, and I started working on up here. The small map of colors don't really show up very well. On the computer it does, so hopefully when we print that out harder, that will show up better.
Okay.
But
Was Neil able to help you with that?
I never contacted, I got hold of the appraiser's office up here, and they got me this, emailed this to me, and I was able to go in and start drawing on it, just having that highlighter job.
Yeah, perfect.
Crayons and stuff, so.
That's-
The lines turn out a lot straighter.
And you just need a bigger printer.
Yeah.
Can you
Well, I-
email it back up to Kate?
Yes, I'll email, when it's done, I'll email them, and then we print it out. So that's a forward step, I guess. We got our safety meeting tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Right after that, K-Camp's gonna be in there doing this defensive driving class and a flagging class. So we're gonna get certified on that. Christie, if you had any time to look that information,
So-
Not 2 days last week, so.
On the flagging, if we're using some of the people from label backs like we have in the matching, are they already certified? Or do
Yes.
we have, they already certified?
Yes, Labor Max certifies. it.
Okay. Okay, perfect. All right.
The LTAP class that the guys are gonna go to over here for the road maintenance got canceled. It's rescheduled now for March 4th, still in Leavenworth. The supervisory class is Wednesday, so there's 5 of them going to that down in Park City. So we leave them early and come back. We had 2 units down here, the wax, the fuel, up on the hill. Is there anything we want to do there, or?
So one of the things that we talked about when I went out there Thursday to meet with the management team is take a look at funding a building similar to what we did out at the landfill, just a 3-sided steel structure that they can back those, sitting up there on that hill. I mean, that's part of the problem, that
Oh, yeah.
there's no protection.
And honestly, as cold as it got, I mean, I'm speaking from experience because Vicky drives bus for Holden. And the Tuesday before it was supposed to get so cold, the maintenance guy went down there and filled all the buses, put in additive, put in 2 different kinds of additive, and they had it plugged in, the whole 9 yards. There was 2 of them that, for whatever reason, they let them run all day, and for whatever reason, they gelled up, waxed up, they were just so. And I talked to Bryson a little bit about this too, and I think that when we have a situation where we know that we're gonna get this cold, that we need to be a little proactive and, put in some 911 or HALs or whatever, you guys found down in Pico last year.
Yeah, it's very expensive stuff.
Sure.
But I start with the house, I think, and we have to go down, we still got like 6 gallons of that.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, when we know it's gonna be a little bit bad, I mean, let's be a little proactive and go ahead and put the treatment in.
But
Because
out of 11 of them, we had 2
Yeah.
did that in one time.
Yeah,
And like I said, those 82 that sit on top of that hill.
sure.
Right. So I guess out of that meeting, we were talking about maybe trying to figure out, you'll need to bring us some sort of a bid that talks about how much money, but maybe we can factor that in, not for the 25 year, but for 26.
26, and that'd be a good idea.
To build some sort of structure, because you've got 2 blades and a dump truck.
Right now,
Yeah. And so.
and a pickup would be down there also.
Yeah, something that we can back that equipment in, build it on the north side there, open to the south.
And like I said, that would be a good idea. I would like to see something like that done, not build it for a pre-made, but,
What did we have in the water?
so we get better.
We're right at 25,000 for the one down there at the lane. That's without any electrical.
What was this one up here at the road and bridge?
85, I think it was.
But that was with raw material,
We
too.
had a lot of materials, right?
So, that's something that, what Keith said, that we need to look at for 26. I don't think there's any way we can do it 25, but we can, look at budgeting it in for 26 and go that way. Is that it?
Sound good to me.
Okay.
All right, they'll be doing some work on 254 Bridge this week, trying to get that wrapped up, well, except for the backfill, Hopefully we thought enough to do something. The mulching we got going on down at F Road 14 right now. We're pulling the sanders out of the dump trucks and stockpiling, rebuilding chains. 3 of the 4 semis that got recalled, that got taken back down to Kenworth to have them flashed. So it takes about 30 minutes, so tomorrow we'll plan on run those down. No, not too long. Like Wednesday, so the classes start tomorrow.
not having any,
Okay. Christie says so.
done.
Put that in the minutes.
I think
Put
it-
that in minutes, Christie said we're done.
Spring is on its way, right?
Did you happen to talk to anybody from Lenoka? About 2 miles down there?
I did not.
Okay. There's an individual approached me that lives, he actually lives in Shawnee County at 94th and, go back up here. Between Valencia and it's I, it would be I. I and J. There's 2 miles of road there. Our blade, when he's doing his normal blade, comes down, gets 94th Street, goes across those 2 miles with the blade up, goes to I, because they're not ours, they belong to Minoka, and they're the only 2 miles in that section, goes over to I, and then goes continue to blade. He wanted to know, this individual asked, if we would consider taking the responsibility of those 2 miles, because they never get bladed by Minoka. And so I brought it up to Scott. He was gonna reach out to Minoka, and I just wanted to make you guys aware of the conversation and get your thoughts on it.
To me, why it was ever set up like that is kind of crazy, is we've got a little piece on this end of the road and a little piece on this end of the road that we maintain, and then we got, like I said, the 2 miles in between, and nothing that they're supposed to do. You know,
So I asked Scott if he would reach out to Minoka and just see, but is there a compromise that we can come to with Minoka? Would they maybe provide some gravel for it on an annual basis, or, you know, some sort of deal that we can work out? And one of the guy that lives just on the other side of 94th Street, he is a volunteer fireman at Hoyt. And so, not that that makes any difference, but that's why I saw him at, he took me aside and asked me that question, and I said, I would bring it up to you guys, get to Scott, and do some research on it, see what you think.
That's, okay, so that's the only 2 miles
It is,
of road there.
it is.
The only thing that I would be leery of doing that would be if all of a sudden they come up and say, well, we want, before you take it over, then we want you to chip and seal it or asphalt or something like that.
Yeah,
That would be the thing that I would be,
it would have to be a contract, we'd have to have our, we've done this before with Soldier Township. where
Sure.
They took over.
well, but the thing with them is they added miles to trade.
But they did, and
These guys
so
don't.
these guys don't have anything to trade with us. So is there a way that we can find some sort of compromise to work something out where they would, if we're gonna maintain?
and I would be all for that. Like I say, I would just make sure that we get it written into whatever contract we have, that in 3 years, they can't come back and say, well, you know, you guys got responsibility for it, so we want you to asphalt it. Or,
Well, once we take over, once we take it over, it would be ours to maintain, and they couldn't tell us what to do. That's the way we've written the other contract. So any of those joint, there are no joint maintenance, it's either our responsibility
Or theirs.
responsibility.
Okay,
Except we don't have that worked out with that.
Need to get
still
that
working on that?
Yeah.
Is it getting me and him together?
Okay, sure.
I did find something this morning I ran across, up around, was it the Grasshopper Township up there that we had an issue last year with, about whose was it?
That bridge?
No. Whose responsibility was to maintain the road, the tile road?
Yeah.
Was it Grasshopper?
Grasshopper Road?
No, Grasshopper Township.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
I don't know which one of it, but I did find paperwork this morning and
Grasshopper.
a resolution that they did, were supposed to maintain that area there. It's like from 310 to 334, I think it was.
Would that be Atchison or would that be Brown?
I believe it's Atchison.
sounds more like
Okay.
Brown, because they named all the roads Kestrel and.
Well, it's Allen Road is what it says.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I said I did find some maps and things this morning, when this was
Okay, perfect.
So,
Well, if you want to explore doing that 94th Street, see if it can come up with some kind of agreement with them, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Like I said, I want to make sure that we're not on the hook for
Yeah.
So
improving
that guy
beyond what
talked to
you did.
Minogue,
So,
I mean, yeah.
it's a long ways from any of their area,
Yeah.
so they never get that. I just said I would bring it up, he asked, and I said I would bring it up.
And my own opinion is, if they're not coming up there to hit 2 miles of it, they're not gonna have, if we take over a mile or something, they're gonna have to do a mile.
yeah, I mean, we might as well take over the full 2 miles and see if we can get an agreement with them to be able to supply, however many loads of rock a year or whatever. So,
Or just some funding.
yeah.
Yeah. Anything, that's all I have.
I will say, I called you about that, corner there by College Road.
Yes.
And, by that afternoon, I went out that way and saw you had a truck and a blade out there and they worked it over on the old highway also. And it was greatly appreciated,
Good.
so,
I went through there the next morning just to check.
yeah.
I didn't slide through or
No.
anything, so.
Like I said,
And I believe the bus was coming right there too.
Oh, yeah, like I said, when she was heading out that morning, she luckily saw a car and it just went right on through, so. But by the time she came in the afternoon and was heading down the hill to go back to the bus barn, it was good. And I called her and told her they were working on it and, she couldn't have any problems, so.
I don't have anything else.
And once again, I heard compliments from the public about the roads this time, so.
We prepared for our mud call.
Oh, yeah, I know.
We're trying to stockpile, like I said, and it starts drying out a little bit or thawing out, start.
One of the things I noticed out driving around yesterday is, it seems like the worst spots, the roads, at least that I drove on, were in pretty good shape, unless you got over on the shoulder, obviously, but it's around your bridges and low spots, wherever there's a tube or a bridge, there's a lot of big potholes, and it looks like some partial loads of gravel are going to have to be dumped in those. You have, I would encourage, I guess, the light operators to look for those areas, so that those can start being fixed, because everything runs downhill and then it settles at the bottom of the hill, and those are really the only wet spots. The roads look pretty good.
Makes a difference, you got ground in there.
Oh, yeah.
And the weakest spot is at the bridge, we just don't have enough crown at the bridge to get the water.
Yeah, and supposed to flatten those out a little bit.
They still need some crown.
And I know you talked the other day a little bit, and then we did discuss it out there about the standards on minimum maintenance roads. It's pretty much called out in that book that they adopted a few years ago, still got to be ditches clean, still got to crown the road, whether it's got gravel on it or not. So we're kind of sticking with that. Basically, it's back to how many times we can get down.
I think that's the biggest thing right here is how many times we can get up and down these roads.
What's your expectation of the operators?
I would think that, a couple times in the spring, they should be able to get down through there. And in summertime, if we don't have a lot of rain, a lot of wet, you shouldn't really have to mess with them a whole lot. Again, we had some that were neglected, like we saw up there last year, and they should go and do some ditching, and so we're still planning on ditching and doing that kind of stuff, so.
I would think that in that July, August time frame would be a great time to get into some of those when it's dry and do that majority of the shaking. You typically can't do blading gravel roads because they're just too dry. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's definitely, possible.
Yeah, and the minimum maintenance roads have been neglected for so long that, we're really gonna have to take a lot of time to, like I say, get the ditches cut so that when it does rain, it gets water off there and it's not just standing there, so. Yeah. All right,
All right, there you go.
thanks, Scott.
whoever is laying my road is doing an amazing job with the snow. I've never seen them so fast hit our road since I've lived there. Like, I was like getting my coffee ready and I could hear it, oh, he's up, okay. I'm like, great, I'm not rushing to work. Yeah, whoever it is, I'm a big fan.
That's what we like to hear.
Is that the,
Terminal
I
have.
think it's a new guy that we just hired for that.
I mean, because we had that big snow at the beginning of the year, or whatever, and he was there by like 10 o'clock that
Who's the-
morning.
Who's
The next
new
one.
guy down in that area that took over?
That would be, Bob and Weston from the,
Bob and Weston.
And Weston's quit, and then got AJ, kept pulling up the truck, because he was interested in learning how to run blades.
And AJ's from up here, Holden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then park down here is, works out okay.
Cool. We did good. I know there's not a lot of us down that road, but it's appreciated. Some of us have to go to work when it snows.
All right, thank y'all.
Yeah.
See ya.
Unfortunately.
Thank you. This is the total, or this is just the special alcohol fund? It doesn't, this isn't the Parks and Rec, the other third that we go into Parks and
No,
Rec?
that's just callers, you want Parks and Rec also? That's just the alcohol fund.
Just the alcohol fund. And we distribute like to the schools for $15,000 for that. Yeah, let's look at the Parks and Rec one too. So the reason I had Christie pull these two funds up, I just wanted to take a look at it, but at the fire meeting the other night, Chris Gordon, who's fire chief at Yulia, he is also their chair. And so one of the things, they're looking at possibly purchase a piece of equipment. And instead of each fire department owning one, they wanted, we would purchase it, and that's what it is there. We have a county trailer, emergency trailer,
Okay.
and Pat's in charge of it. But this piece of equipment is about, in a hard case, it would be kept in that. But what this equipment does is all firefighters respirators, and don't ask me the acronyms, what there's some difference in some of them, but the majority of them, I think all of them, use the same time. They're required to be tested on an annual basis. It's $200 to $300 per device to have it tested. And then SMAS come out. What they would, and what happens is a lot of these guys, these departments end up not doing it, so they get behind years.
Sure. No, I understand that, 100%.
So you're familiar with those?
Well, I'm familiar with having to send them out and get them tested, because you have to send their,
So what they would like to do is buy this device that does the testing. It's a little over like $1,000. If we're in the conversation, either Chris or someone in this company will want to build with us, but it's in that $11,000 range, and then there's 3 to 5 year warranty on it, and that includes all software updates. It includes maintenance, recalibration, which that machine's required to be recalibrated on an annual basis.
yeah. Who would be responsible?
Halfway.
Pat would be responsible for doing the calibration and the
No.
testing on, that's,
I'm
on
sorry.
the calibration and testing on the units.
No,
Who would be responsible for
that's
that?
fire chief.
Each fire chief would be responsible for that. Who would be responsible for the cost of training those folks and getting them recertified every year to be able to do that?
They- that's a question you'd have to ask Chris.
Yeah, because I mean, it's
He
not
didn't
just,
indicate to me that he had to be certified to do that. That you use this machine,
I
and
would-
put it on the individual. He didn't indicate there was any additional cost other than they hook it up. They've borrowed machines from other places, so Mark, I'm guessing there is no certification to operating the machine. They borrowed them from, I won't name the railroads, they borrowed them from railroads, they borrowed them from other large corporations that have them, and he didn't indicate to me that there was any certification.
that would be one of the things that I would want to double check on is that, to make sure that there is no, because you're talking about a life there.
Yeah,
So, yes, that's one of the things that I would want to make sure that, there is no certification. I mean, yeah, you can get the machine, you know, ISO 9000 certified and NEC and all that good stuff. But if you're going to be the one responsible for actually physically doing it, then that, I think that would
Chris
be
was come up
something we
and
need to
answer
talk
those
about.
questions.
Yeah.
He didn't indicate to me, as I asked him, whatever, it's it. He said, that's all we do. So what they would do is, the PAP would be in charge of checking this machine out
Mhm.
to each of the 8 fire departments, including Holton, we would allow them to use it.
But did the other fire departments chime in and say, yeah, we could use this too, or
They-
we'd like to have this, or we don't?
They didn't, there were 2 that were like, yeah, we would like it, the rest of them didn't say anything. They didn't object to it, but they've gotta have them tested somewhere.
But like
So
you say,
if,
they
so
might
if,
not be getting
But
tested
it's-
because of that, because of cost.
But is it what they call fit testing? I mean, it's,
that's correct. So if Whiting has to have theirs done, they're borrowing a machine or they're paying somebody to come in and do it. to
but
use
do
it.
they actually just test that, or it has to be with the person?
It has to be with the person,
Right. Yeah.
because they talked about facial hair, and if they
You
can't
can't
get
have
a
any
good fit,
facial hair.
if they get a good fit test with it, then fine, but they can tell if they don't get a good test. Anyway, those are questions that he can answer. They're just wanting to have a machine for everybody to have access to it so that this is being done. Because he indicated to me, and again, all the chiefs were there, representatives were there, there's a lot of it that's just not getting done.
But they are volunteers, so some of them might not want it done. I think it,
Might
Well,
not want,
the thing is there,
they may not want the fit
here's the
test
kicker done, if they don't want the fit test done, then they're not certified for the, what's it, SCBA, self-contained breathing, self-contained breathing apparatus. So they can't they can't put it on and go into a fire for that.
If they
So they're
do,
just standing out there on the sidelines going like this,
if
and
they
then
do,
they're
if
gonna be
they get
off
hurt,
fire
there's
department.
gonna be a liability will be on them.
Yeah.
Do you know, I mean, do you have some information, and we talked to people? I mean, if you have, that's, now's the time. I'm just going off of what was said at this meeting.
well, I just don't think that everybody really agreed to that. That they needed that machine.
How are they getting it tested then?
Well, I do know once upon a time, Holton did borrow from, when I forget who was the fire chief, they borrowed from Evergy at one point. I don't know, it's fun.
Well, I mean, again, if there's information, I mean, all this, everybody's sitting around the same table down there, and nobody said, no, we don't think this is legal. They just, Pat, I mean, good question, maybe Pat can come down and answer some of those questions too.
That might be a thing to use, get Pat, Chris, and see what, talk about what's going on there.
Yeah. Anyway, just bring it to you guys if there is a chance that we want to fund something like that, and then it would be owned by the county, in the county trailer under PAC 40s.
Who would pay for it, and here's another thing, who would pay for getting it recalibrated annually, would that be
That
the,
comes under the warranty.
does?
So there's
Okay,
a 2 and a 5 year warranty, I'm holding on this. And it covers the calibration, recalibration.
okay.
Again, if you guys want to extend the conversation, I would invite, Pat and possibly Chris, and maybe somebody from the Holton Fire Department,
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a good idea
to have a
to
conversation.
have a conversation about it, so.
Yeah, let's do. So it's not something that, it's purchased and really doesn't get used?
They've got to get done somehow. They're required to be done, let's put it that way. Are you saying that it's not required?
So I'm saying if they haven't had it, I mean, you think they've been borrowing this all the time from somewhere, or?
Or we're just not doing it.
There's a company out there
Just
that
not
will
doing
come
it.
in and they'll, according to Chris, if you show up, and there's 10 guys, they're gonna charge $250 to $300 per individual to do these tests on an annual basis. There's a lot of guys that just aren't doing it. I don't know how that affects any of their workers' comp, if they would get injured, I don't know the answer.
Right, and that would be a question. Like I say, they are volunteers, so,
But we cover their workers' comp.
I know that, and so that would make a difference too, how insurance looks at stuff.
So maybe, if Pat's available, we got time.
Yeah,
we
maybe
wanna-
Pat can explain it a little bit.
Maybe she can come down and talk a little bit more about it.
I mean, here's under 1910.134 OSHA standard for fit testing. Fit test must be performed initially before an employee is required to wear the respirator in the workplace and must be repeated at least annually. So, I mean, that's saying it must be done according to OSHA. So, and if some of them aren't doing it, then that kind of throws a wrench, monkey wrench in the works there. And I don't,
Do fire departments fall under OSHA?
I would think that they would.
I don't know, there are some agencies that don't.
And here's a question, I just got to answer the question that I just asked. OSHA does not require that the appointed respiratory program administrator be specially licensed, so that answers that right there. Program administrator must be suitably trained in performing the tests and maintaining the equipment, so.
There is a number on it.
What's that about? What you're saying?
That's just list all the individuals that are using it. This is on
Oh.
the budget activity for the park and rec.
Well, it says down
And
here,
Park and Rec is 30,000.
total
Yeah,
encumbered is $30,182.59.
Oh, the other one had it up here at the top, is it these numbers?
This is going to be that one should
But it doesn't show.
Okay. Have anything on it.
Oh,
So,
okay.
for the distributions and.
These are the distributions.
That we wanted to.
When we get the King County portion, it's in March.
The state will send money again.
And as far as the encumbrances on there, Wetmore, the $500 there is not gonna be a thing anymore.
Wetmore, I didn't come.
Okay?
Rossville, I forgot to tell you, that's still $50 more.
And what is a JCCTC, that's in Jackson County, that's Just $15,000. Really? Hi, Pat.
Hi,
How are you?
How are you guys?
Doing great.
Good.
Can you explain a little bit about the SCBA?
The fit testing?
Yeah,
Now, basically,
and how that would work?
the fire departments are supposed to do this every year or every 3 years or something. We used to have one in the county, but it kind of expired. And now they're having to rent out from Shawnee County or whoever. The one that Chris was talking about was the 8040T. And it's like $11,575 to get it, plus the tablet that can store information in. And we're kind of wanting the commissioners, if you would allow it, to get this unit in the county so that they can share with the fire department.
You talked about there was 2 options for warranties.
Yeah, and I don't know about, Chris didn't give me the warranty thing, but they're usually good for 5 to 10 years, is what he was telling me.
And
The warranty is,
they recalibrate on
And then they
it.
recalibrate, yes.
and the recalibration is actually covered under warranty?
It
That's
should be,
good.
the warranty, he didn't give me the exact time frame of how long the warranty will last on this.
There was 2 options. One was 2,000 and some change, one was 4,000 and some change. It was a 5-year warranty,
5-year warranty.
about
Okay.
900 plus a year.
Well, I would double check on the recalibration because I would bet that it would have to be recertified annually, the
I think
machine
it does,
itself.
yes.
But I would double check whether or not the warranty covers the recalibration cost, because on any instrumentation,
I think he
any
said it did.
instrumentation I've ever dealt with,
Yeah, it
and
does.
I've dealt with a lot of instrumentation, even though it's still under warranty, you still have to pay to get it recalibrated.
But this warranty covered.
And that's what I say, I would double check and triple check on that, just to make sure.
Do you think all of the fire departments would use it?
They should use it.
They should.
They should get this, fit tested every year.
What happens if they don't? And they go into a fire wearing that equipment and they're injured and file a claim?
Workers' comp is gonna cover it.
It will?
Are they going to cover it if they have not been, if their fit test is not annually certified?
They have been. And that's something they don't put in there on the form they fill out if they're injured.
Do you
So
have
as
any,
far as using their SCBA gear, we have not had somebody injured in the last few years wearing their SCBA going into fight fire. This is basically what house fire structure.
Sure. But we're taking a big risk, especially if we're paying more comp on that.
Yes. Most of the workers' comp is they fall out of a truck and hit a pole and
Yeah.
they twist their ankle or something, but as far as
Right.
fit testing, we haven't moved calls on it, except for maybe the guy from Hoyt Fire, but I don't, he was out maintaining the truck with crews and stuff. Without a CBA on, had his bunker gear on, but not this mask.
Well, let's say knock on wood that we haven't had that happen.
Yeah, we haven't, but
Uh,
they should be doing fit testing every year, and they can't seem to afford it for each individual fire department. Chris thought this would be a good thing, that they could just share with every single fire department every year to get fit tested.
So if we did this, and we are allocating money to all of these entities, can we make it mandatory that the fit test has to be done annually?
Yeah.
I mean, to
That would
me,
be a good
that just
bonus.
makes sense. If we're doing this,
It
make
would
it
be a
mandatory.
bonus.
If we're gonna cover them on work comp, it should be mandatory that they're doing the fit test annually. To me,
I think that's kind of what they want to put in place, but like I say, the money is what it's all about.
okay? What do you guys think?
Will you get any kickback because you're volunteers?
Find out. We can find out.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, if there's an indication that there are departments that don't want this, and you may just reach out and talk to them individually, I'd like to know that information before we spend the money.
Yeah,
We've got another meeting, what is this, in April, what is this, February, in April,
you can pin them down to whether or not, if we do this, if we purchase a piece of equipment and we make it mandatory that each firefighter has to have a fit test annually, or whether or not that's gonna cause a kickback. Personally, I don't see why it would if we're trying
It
to
shouldn't if they're trying to.
help them.
Yeah.
The only hesitation I saw in maybe two people the other night at the meeting, they had facial hair.
Most of them have facial hair.
So
Yeah.
find
But
out
two of
how
them-
many really are interested in it.
Because if they fail the test with the facial hair, they're required to shave it. And then.
And they can do a half-fit test with some of them wearing big, but 90% of them have facial hair.
Mhm.
Fire departments. They always have.
Yeah,
So, and that's something I'll bring up with Chris, and what we'll do is we'll probably reach out to each fire chief and say, okay,
Yeah,
this is
check
what
it
we've
out.
got.
and then, like I say, I understand your point, well, they're volunteers, I understand you're volunteers, but if they're volunteering and the requirements say that they're supposed to have a fit test,
I see what you're
I
doing.
mean-
I do.
then it's kind of a, to me, it's kind of a moot point.
I guess
I mean, if it's something that,
don't.
I mean, hasn't,
We've had it in place, and this has been when John Bailey was.
it's just not
And
been,
it got used, and
Not
they
been
transferred to each department that wanted to do it, and
I don't know that we could require them to do it, but we could, and we could talk to Todd, but we could ask them, each department to sign a letter, sign an agreement that we purchase this, they will. I don't know that with them having, they raise their own funds through mill levy, and they have their own board. That may be a board question that we would ask each individual board to make a policy to change that. I just don't believe we have the authority as commissioners to mandate that they do such a.
We need to check that out, because like I say, if we are providing
Sure.
the work comp, then if they don't want to do a fit test, then they need to sign off that they don't want to do it, and to me, that ought to take the liability for work comp off us.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the path of least resistance would just be have a conversation with these
Sure.
individual fire
yeah,
boards.
check it
And
out.
that's what,
those
yeah,
fire
that's what we need
boards.
to do.
Have the fire boards create their own policy, because then we're not overstepping the bounds of anybody.
yeah, and Whiting had the last fire at Rose's Cafe up there. I'm sure they were passed up then, but,
When was the last time they had a fit test?
yeah.
Yeah.
And we had, what, 3 fire chiefs at one meeting last week, too.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of depends on if they have something going on, they don't show up.
Right.
I'll get with Chris and see if he can email them and go from there.
Yeah, let's start the
And
conversation
if
there.
the attorney can kind of check some of the stipulations and stuff, that would be good.
Well, because if we're gonna put out the money for this unit to test them, I don't wanna put out the money and then just have it sit in the trailer and never be used, or maybe one uses it and that's it, or 2 people.
I'm pretty sure White will use it, maybe will use it, and Delia for sure, Bolton probably will use it.
Yeah.
And Scott was there, and I think he was on board for it, but he's got, him and Hoyt have the biggest fire departments in the county, which that would probably take a couple of weekends for them to fix.
Sure.
Just check it out.
Yeah, if you just check it out, get back to us, appreciate
Sounds
that.
good.
All right.
All righty.
Thanks, Pat, appreciate it.
I couldn't ask you, we're doing severe weather, where this week is next week? Are you doing for this one,
We are doing okay.
Did you have any more on the fire
We
meeting?
were going to have it, and.
Yeah, so the website
It
didn't.
was real good.
It's a
They just didn't know
I
who to
just thought,
contact.
okay, and
Yeah.
Chad said,
There's a
Yeah.
lot nearby.
Each fire chief.
there is,
And this
there's one
needs to
travel.
develop a
But
relationship
I
and know
just
who
told them, I said,
their
yeah,
layout
we're
is.
just gonna, if you wanna do
So
it.
they're-
Okay,
do that.
I'll make sure.
Good.
Okay, and then you'll be testing
if you have a situation, so like that, that situation, it's probably gonna be an hour, really,
Okay.
late to respond to it.
I know, it's like, oh, we're still thinking about winter.
We gave them the
Yes.
leeway
That'd be good. All right,
evaluate,
thanks, Pat.
evaluate the road and go, you know what, I think we could get a truck, a 10-wheeler with a blade on it, down there quicker, then they can make that judgment.
Right.
But, yeah, they were very appreciative, I think, of
Good.
the fact that they have all updated information, the maps were nice, and, Scott had it printed out, set it together for all 8 districts.
Good. I think that's, communication part's the key right there, just, communicating with them and back and forth, and trying to get it towards a workable plan, so, that's good. I went to Conservation District dinner that night, and very well put on, listened to speech from, the speech winner in the district, who went on the state, placed in second, and that was Laurel Larison, and, all the winners were very appreciative of their awards, and, the Conservation District was very appreciative that the county sponsored them and they're behind them, so it was a good deal all around, so. Let's see, we got where have you been working at 10:30? Chris, you got any more? Are you good? All right. So everybody read their minutes?
Yeah.
Had one change?
Two.
Two changes?
Yeah, there was a second one on the second page, was Chairman Kelly. Would like to do away with pen and paper. By December, we'll have this done.
It's hard to break myself after I typed that for 2 years.
Yep.
All right, if everybody's read the minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from February 18th, 2025 with corrections.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes with corrections from February 18th, 2025. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Okay.
You'll have to wear your coat this afternoon.
I know, I'm like, should I bring my heavy coat today?
We'll all be sick.
I think I'm just gonna go stand outside over the lunch hour and just soak in the vitamin D.
Wait till tomorrow. It'll
I
be
know,
better.
I'm so excited. See you guys.
Where's that?
Just trying to sit there. it's within the right range, it's not. It's not the same maximum pay.
And then that way we'll have an idea of what's actually available, and then there'll be additional money that comes in March.
It's every quarter.
So, when we should run those sheets when we're in the, what we used to have when we did budget?
I say it again.
Motor vehicle sheets that I used when we did budgets, when did you usually run those?
So you do that, Esther.
And then I give it to her so she can make her sheets.
Yes. And I think, actually, I think in March, I mean,
I got the new levy, so I didn't know.
okay, yeah, no, I think you could do it like in March, like we never did send them out until about May. But I think it's out of the, you can do it. Yeah.
So you guys went for legislative forum. I couldn't go, so I was also watching my granddaughter dance, but did you learn anything
To
or
the what?
the legislative
Oh.
forum?
Um,
How county was.
yeah,
Nothing much county wise? Okay.
don't understand the question I wanted to ask you was, if they put a 3% cap on, how will that affect the county? Do you have any idea if they cap that valuation?
Well, I don't know, I'm afraid if they cap it, then down the road, you're gonna have to make it back up somewhere.
That's what
Yeah.
Kate indicated that when I talked to her. She said they've tried this before, and then 10 or 11 years later, they had to go through all this work to bring them back to fair value.
Yeah, and then it goes, shh.
And then it,
And it just skyrockets. Now, is that the plan that would affect, you and I built a house in 2000, side by side. You stay in your house till 2030,
yeah,
and I sell my house, in 2030, and I sell it for X amount of dollars, above and beyond what the valuation is, of course. So, my understanding, if this is the plan that I'm thinking of, then the people that bought my house, their house, that house is now valued at the purchase price, exactly the same model as what you have, but you're still at the valuation from, that's way down here. And that's where everything gets skewed
it does.
because of the fact that they're side by side, exactly the same, but they're not valued the same.
And I think the other thing we learned is the property tax on UTVs,
Oh, yeah.
ATVs,
Then the levy's gonna go away.
Boats, airplanes,
airplanes, all that stuff will go away. Because
Yes. Yeah, it's out there, they all sounded pretty
But
big.
you
Yeah.
know who was pushing that? Did you hear who they were getting the majority of the information from?
Was the appraisers, what he said.
Yeah, yeah, because the amount of time and effort to send that information out and the amount of tax that they get back, I guess in some cases they're losing money.
Well, I'm sure, and Kate would probably say the ATVs are,
Yeah.
they can't hardly keep track of them, like they wanted Kurt when they did anything at the lake to try to write them down. Well, that's not right either, you know, you
Yeah.
can't police them that way. But, you know, they're not having personal property renditions anymore, you know, where they send out the sheet and you sign it,
That
and
stopped,
turn it
that
back
stopped
in.
this year.
That stopped, so that's probably part of it.
Take some of those mistakes.
It will take some of it away.
I wonder how much it will actually
I mean, you know,
affect us.
because with the lake, we got quite a few boats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got,
But I mean, I wonder how much it will actually affect the county with that,
Dollar-wise.
dollar-wise. I don't know.
I mean, how much personal property do we run taxes on?
$1.298.
How many, what?
How many dollars do we run taxes on for personal property? We should, you know, I'm just
Evaluation.
curious what our
Yeah.
taxes for personal property were, that we're having.
Oh, no, it's, I think that it will affect us, to a certain degree. But I don't know that that amount is gonna be, will affect us to any great extent. I think that, here again, we don't have any manufacturing to where they're taking machinery off or anything like that. I almost believe that we're really, if that comes to pass, that this county will not see that much of a difference because of the ATVs, the boats. You're gonna lose some on the boats. But the ATVs, UTVs, I don't think you're gonna see much of a change on that, really, tax-wise.
Try not too much, because most of them get exempt.
Yeah.
They put them out for farm use.
Yeah.
They're exempt.
Even if you only have 2 acres.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But I just don't see it that will affect us, our bottom line that much on that.
But you know, in your golf carts, that's part of it.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, it basically is taking away all the person's property, the way I look at it. Yeah.
Personal property total tax in 24 was 28,000.
That's,
And it's not huge yet, but it is.
but it is a,
It is, I mean, yeah, it is there. And that was on everything that was reported to.
We need to, they got a call from Rob, and when he met with Senator Marshall, he wants an update, and he met actually with,
Oh, with Marshall?
yeah, and he wants, because it's been 3 years, he wants an update on the numbers. I think it's just what percentage of our budget is going, and what that number looks like. I talked to Kate a little bit, part of the update, I would like to throw in additional acres that have come off, and I'd also like to throw in the number of what those facilities that are going to be built will be valued at,
Mm-hmm.
just so he has an idea.
Yeah.
But, we need to try to work on those numbers and try to figure out today, what those updated numbers look like.
I'm trying to get Kate down here after the fruit people and see if we can.
Sure.
See
With some of
what
that,
about-
with some of that, Christie, be information, so total budget, and then how we're dividing that up through court services, and road and bridge, and law enforcement, all those things. Would that be information that you could work with us on? Okay.
Okay.
So I told Kate that, I know she's really busy.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
But yeah, if you want to have her come down and maybe we can go over that and see how long it's gonna take her to get those updated.
And I'm in favor right now until we get an answer back to seller before on the backside. You have other things you need to do first, before that.
Do you agree with that?
yeah.
I do too. I do too, so I think any of that core request, because she said she was working on some of that, I said, I think I would pause that.
I'd hold off on that because you have other things, your valuation notices you have to take out or get out,
Was
things
Tom
like
not
that.
sending a letter? Was Tom gonna send a letter?
Well, he
Don't
didn't,
know for sure.
he hasn't determined that, but I did some research once I got home, and everything I find, we're not required, because we don't have a treaty, and we're not, they're an independent nation, and independent, and I specifically researched tribal nations, and we're not required, the only agencies that would be required under a FORA, or not FORA, but Freedom of Information Act, would be federal agencies, not state, county, or local, incorporated cities. They're not. According to the information I found, but I'm not a lawyer either, so.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I was at too, so. I think we'll just kind of wait on Todd to give us some direction on that, and we can have it back next week.
And I'd really like to know now.
Oh, I know,
I mean, was he available for a phone call?
not now, he's in court right now. He was available from 9 to 9:30.
And then he's gonna be out? You know,
Don't know.
I'd really like to, instead of waiting another week, know where we stand on that.
Well, I can contact him and see if I can get some, because we're coming in on the 28th. So, see if we can get some information on 28th.
Yeah, I'd like to know something on that. We can get letters sent out.
Yeah. Yeah, me too, I don't want to, keep pushing it off, I just need to get it done and be done with it.
He indicated to you that
He said he found some information on it, so he didn't really indicate yes, no, maybe, so we'll just kind of, I'll get a hold of him and, have him we can either have a phone call with him and talk to him or whatever on Friday, so we'll do those in our work session, so. That.
Good
How are
morning.
you? You did tell me whether you're here. On your clothes.
That's why I said he.
Okay. How we doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Are you with Schwicker Roofing?
Yes, sir.
All right, come on up.
All right. How are you this morning?
We're doing great.
This is pretty formal. I like it. Christy, that's you, okay? It's nice to meet everybody.
Yes, sir.
My name's Shaw Miller.
Mark Crook. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Shaw Miller, nice to meet you.
and then Keith,
Nice to meet you.
and then Pat Richter.
And
He's
Pat.
Head of building maintenance.
Right on, good to meet you too. So this is just kind of a brief overview of our services. We have a thing called the Hectic Tracker, and it's basically a preventative maintenance for your roofing system. So you basically give the headaches to us. We inspect it once a year, and then we have an NTE, not to exceed. So if it's, let's say your not to exceed is $1,500, we're going to inspect it, every year. You're choosing. Some people do the spring, some people do the fall, just depending on what's on your plate at the moment, So, and then we come in, and if it's below the $1,500 to do the repairs, then we just fix it. And then next year we look at the buildings again. And that, depending on how many buildings you have, you can get them inspected at different times, just at your convenience.
Okay.
And being a Hectic Tracker client, you get 5% off of all repairs or re-roofs. Any work that we perform is going to be 5% off. You get priority, so within 24 hours, if you have any kind of lead call, anything like that, we're here within 24 hours, you get priority, turnaround from us. So if you've got 4 things ahead and you're a tracker client, we'll put you at the top of the list. Like I said, it's basically just, I'm sure you have lots of things going on in this community. The last thing you want to think about is your roof. That's what we do. We worry about that for you. And
you know, I don't know how new your roof systems are, but if they're still under warranty, most warranty companies require an annual inspection to keep that warranty in effect. So it's basically just a way, so basically our goal is to keep your roofing systems to last the longest. So we don't, you know, I mean, someone with a preventative roofing maintenance program, your roof is gonna last 3 or 4 times longer than if you just, you know, go reactive. We're proactive, so we're gonna look at it, we're gonna make sure things are fixed that need to be fixed, instead of waiting for a leak to come down and then you've got insulation issues and, you know, it causes a lot more problems. Any questions?
Not so far.
Okay. What's your current, I mean, your situation with the roofs in this area? I mean, do you have a lot of silly buildings, lots of different?
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings. All right.
Well,
Courthouse, health department, road and bridge.
And is that something
Sheriff's
that you
maintenance.
could provide me a list just of the buildings that you're
Oh, yeah, we got
thinking
Banner now
about?
too.
What?
We got Banner now too.
Banner, the new,
The new building out there. That's the lake.
Is that any kind of roofing or is it just that?
We do everything under the stuff. TPO, EPDM, built up, mod bit.
so, I mean, there's 3 buildings down at the yard down here with household hazardous waste, 3 or 4. Then you've got senior citizen, that's 5, courthouse is 6, road and bridge is 7, the jail is 8, and now Banner is 9.
Well, we got the church down here.
Sheriff's maintenance building.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think Road and Bridge has, I mean, they just have a metal roof.
Right.
So yeah, you're looking at quite a few.
Okay, and is that something that you could give me a list of all the places? Because when I've got my roofing superintendent, Tim Tyler, his card's in there. He's gonna basically put the tracker together on all the buildings that you were thinking about. And then when I come back with the tracker proposal, it'll be line item on each building, so it's, it's not an all or nothing thing, it's kind of an à la carte thing. So if you were to see, that might need some work, or you want this to get inspected, and maybe there's a building, like you said, it's a metal roof, you maybe not want to add that, you can pick and choose what you want, what you don't want. So yeah, before I leave, I'd like to get that, a list of that, just so we have it.
So I know the courthouse, the 2 church buildings, the senior center, and Road and Bridge down here was all put in 20.
So they're new, they're fairly new buildings, okay, that's good. We like to see new buildings, because we go, we look at lots of different roofs, but we'll go up to a building and it'll need to be re-roofed, or close to re-roofed, and they haven't had it inspected for 4 or 5 years. And even with a new roof, having an inspection is, it's a lot better than just kind of letting it go, like I said, be reactive opposed to
Right.
proactive.
Right.
So the majority of them have been done in 20. Okay, are there any roof systems that are older than that?
Well, just be Road and Bridge out here.
Okay, and
Now,
are
didn't part of that get done on that new portion?
Well, maybe the new building, their office space. and-
Oh, well, I thought they did something about the office
Oh,
space.
that was
didn't they?
before me, so.
Okay.
It would have been in 21, I thought they had code. That's a metal building, because they had several leaks out there.
Yeah, I think we have to do Scott on that, talk to him and see.
I think they maybe put a coating on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was leaking, I don't know, some seams or around some fasteners, and so they either recoated or they may have just spot coated. I don't know, but Scott can keep up with it.
Well, that's something that when we look at it, we'll be able to decipher exactly what went on. Are you currently having any of your roofing systems inspected and maintained right now? Okay.
This one isn't inspected.
Okay, can we go up and do that?
And being since 2020, I assume all the roofs are still under warranty.
I don't know how long the warranty is on those, is it saying that?
It varies, 10 years, 15 years, just depending on, do you know, yeah, just depending on the manufacturer, do you know if it's a Garland or a
15-year standard
Firestone?
warranty,
What's that?
15-year standard warranty.
Okay. And do you know who did it, if it was Garland or Firestone?
Midwest.
And what the system is it TPO, is it EPDM?
It's white vinyl living stuff.
TPO,
I
yeah.
don't know what the TPO says, let's see. Install number one density EPS installation, Mule High TPO roof system.
Okay, that's great, it's the best to maintain. It's easy fix, you know, you just get up and weld strips if there are leaks or penetrations. And it's, the majority of it is flat. Do you have any steep slope stuff? Okay.
Well, the flattest one would be the senior center.
Yeah.
Although that shows I've never done that on top of it.
Steepest one would probably be Road and Bridge.
Yeah. And what would you think? 412, 612, and is it walkable?
Oh,
Why, all of them are walkable?
4 or 512.
Four, okay.
It's not anything.
And just, do you have any idea on the square feet footage, how many? Okay, that's something that we can look at when we get to areas. And what we do is we do Google Earth and go down and do the measurements and get that figured out. I know you are Omnia, correct?
What?
Omnia, it's basically a co-op, so you know, I mean, our bids and our proposals are checked. So it's basically alleviates the bidding process to go out. If you're familiar with that at all?
No, I'm not.
No, we don't know. Shannon asked me to bring up Omnia. I'll do a little looking into that, because being part of the city, you should, I mean, I don't know, I think that you should be a part of that. It's basically just protects you and protects us from overbidding and from gouging the client.
Okay.
So we're very patrolled, if you would say, on giving people bids and proposals, so we make sure that it's, not more expensive than it should be.
Looks like all the sheriff's department, here, those are all pitched roads. Pitched or half pitched, I mean,
Yeah.
inside
Well, I'm looking at the drawings here from K-Camp, and it kind of looks that way.
Do they got asphalt on them?
I would say they have metal, it appears they're metal,
Okay.
that one.
And then as far as your approval level, it's you guys, right? You
We're the top of the food chain.
Top of the food chain. All right.
But I would prefer that everything go through Pat, who is our building maintenance, and/or Scott Kiefhopper, and/or at least touch base with the undersheriff, because I think he handles some of that stuff. But I really think Pat needs to be the lead on this.
Okay. And what, do you have a good contact info, Pat?
But that's just my opinion.
785-851-0600.
Do it.
Okay. Basically, that's the information that I need, except if I could get a list of the buildings that you're talking about. And then when I get back to the office, I'll work on it this week, just putting a tractor proposal together. And then I'll get back with you, and I'll come back and I'll bring my superintendent with me when we deliver the tractor proposal and just go over it with you. We'll go over the buildings and just see what your need is, what you'd like to
So
see.
basically, there's a cost of you guys coming in, or an individual representative coming in, looking at these roads on an annual basis.
Correct.
I think that, and one thing I want to check into is with K-Camp, I think that with the roof, the annual roof inspection, I think we get a cut on K-Camp.
That's correct. The majority of times when you do have your roof annually inspected and maintained, you're gonna get breaks from other places, insurance, and like you said, the K-CAM.
So we're gonna need to see a cost basis analysis on what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you come in, somebody comes in, inspects the roof on the courthouse, and you said that there's $1,500 before, if it's less than $1,500, they're just gonna go ahead and fix it.
Correct.
If it's above that, who's fixing it?
We are,
Okay, so you are.
yes.
Okay, and so I guess I struggle a little bit with the same people that inspect are doing the fix. Because to me, there would be a benefit to always finding something wrong. I'm just pointing out the
So, oh, I totally understand that, but we do, on your Tekta tracker, you're gonna have a username and a login, and we're gonna give you a hard copy. But you'll be able to log in and you'll be able to see, and we provide pictures before and after. I mean, it's basically something where we're gonna go, and if I got up on this roof today, and I found 3 spots, or 3 cuts, or 3 something that needed to be fixed, we would take pictures of it, and before the work is done, whether it be above or below the NTE, we're gonna come back to you and show you our findings, and then you're gonna say, okay, do it, or okay, don't do it, even if it's below the NTE, we're gonna put it by you guys first. Just so you know, like you said, we're not just going up there and saying, oh, that needs fixed.
Right, but I'm not an expert in the roof. And so for me to look at the pictures and say, yeah, I gotta think through that because, I mean, it would be one thing if it was an independent auditor. I think of auditors because we're audited. I wouldn't want an auditor being the one who does our books either.
Right. That makes, oh yeah, that makes sense.
And so, I guess Pat, what are your thoughts?
I haven't had no issues. I mean, I've had a few up here, not many. Most of them were caused by construction. And I called Midwest and they came up and fixed the issue.
So I guess my thought is, okay, if you have are there independent just inspectors out there who are gonna come in and they're gonna, I mean, short of hiring an engineering firm or architect, whatever kind of firm coming in to inspect the roofs, they're gonna go, here's what we see. You do with it what you want. We have no tie or representation to anybody who fixes it. I'm just being straight with you.
No, absolutely, I appreciate it.
I struggle.
OSHA, I mean,
Yeah.
they tell you what the finding are and then it's.
Mhm.
But I'm not saying throw the brakes on, I'm just pointing
Sure.
out to me,
No,
I mean,
And I'm curious too, since the roofs are only 5 years old and there's a 15-year warranty on them, so that anything that you find would come under warranty, so we go back on Midwest, not on you guys. So,
Well, no, but right, I mean, it would go back onto Midwest, but the warranty company, they're going to say, find a roofing company to do it, and we do warranty work, we work with all the manufacturers. So and then we would turn around and we would do the work, and then we would get to the warranty company, and they would pay us for the work that's done.
okay.
do you know that $1,500 per building?
Well, no, that depends, I mean, and that 1,500 number, that's just kind of what it was just an example. I'm not 100%, my roofing superintendent he would look at it and he would say, and that's per building, correct. So I mean, I work with Douglas County Youth Services, Youth Juvenile Services, and I think their tracker was like $650 annually, and they have $1,000 not to exceed, and that'll never go. It'll never go above the NTE because their roof, I think it's about 10 years old, and it's a built-up mod bit, so it's a 30-year warranty, so it's going to last a lot longer. They'll never go over that $1,000. But anytime, whenever we inspect it, we're still going to, whatever we find, we're still going to bring it up and, get approval, whether it's below or above.
you get references in the area.
Absolutely.
Topeka,
Yeah.
Douglas County.
Most definitely.
Yeah, if you want to leave those references with Pat, that would be.
And that's something that I will email you.
Okay.
Pat. Do you have a card, or do you have a? No, I'm not.
That official.
What's that good email for you?
It's custodial at JACOKS.
JCOKS. and I'll get that email to you. We work with, Lewisburg, Norborn, Central Heights, Swathena.
And where you guys out of?
We are at Lawrence. Our corporate office is in Mankato, Minnesota, but we have 4 locations. We've been around since 1906, family owned, and in about 1940 we started roofing. We were a hardware store before that. And then 25 years ago, Schwickert started Tecta America. It was a conglomerate, and still decided to stay kind of more family owned. So we've got 3 offices in Mankato, Savage, and St. Peter, and then in Lawrence. But Tecta America has grown to be the largest roofing company in the country. So we're still, kind of small town, family owned, but we have the backing of Tecta. So that's all the insurances and the co-ops and.
Right. Yeah, I think what I would like to see, like I say, is a guesstimate of what the cost is gonna be per building. And then I want to turn that around and get a hold of K-Camp and see what
Sure.
our
What your savings would be.
what our savings would be to balance, see if it balances out, or,
Right.
that's where I want to go first.
And our goal is to save you money in the long run. I mean, if it doesn't make sense, then, we would want you to do something if it didn't make sense for you. But, on the other hand, if you decide that Tecta Tracker is not, maybe the best fit for you, we'd still love to do your maintenance. If you have a leak or you have any issues like that, I mean, the turnaround time is still within a couple days if you have a leak. So, we treat all of our customers the same. I said that you get priority with Tecta and 5% off of any work that we do. You're still priority, whether you're not a Tracker client or not. But the 5%, that wouldn't be included if you weren't a Tracker client.
Okay. Yep, well, like I say, coordinate with Pat, and, there's some numbers on there as far as building measurements and everything, drawings and all that, K-Camp did, so.
Yeah, but Pat, if you just want to reach out to Scott, maybe get the information from Scott and Tim or the undersheriff. But like I said, I think he's handling a lot of that stuff made on their buildings,
Well, those drawings are in there, in this packet that Pat has right now, as far as the measurements for the roof.
Right, but just bring them up to speed.
Yeah,
And tell them they won't do anything, we won't make a decision without including them.
Sure.
Excellent. Any other questions?
So,
I can't think of anything.
You got a bunch more stuff to go over today for the city and all that?
state or county.
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 So and we're in Wilton and we're in Jackson County.
But the county seat is in Holton, yeah.
Okay. How long has the community been around?
Well, this building is
100 years.
102.
Okay, I live in Lawrence and I wanna get out and I wanna find a town like.
Yeah, this building was
I
originally.
love these old towns.
21, 22, 21, 20.
And it'll last another 100 years probably. They used to build
That's our goal.
the right way,
That's our goal.
You bet. Well, I will get that list. Do you have a list of that?
I'll go get them.
Perfect. Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Hey, absolutely. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too,
And
sir.
we'll definitely be in touch.
Appreciate the information.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely.
The faces.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, we want to see if we can get Kate down here in just a few minutes. While we're waiting for
Yeah, that'd be great.
work. A little yellow.
What spreadsheet? Oh, yeah, I think that's what we're talking about. She's working on a spreadsheet for the U.S. Trust right now.
Okay.
So we're gonna come down and we're gonna continue.
I think we want to come down for just a few minutes and then you go back to spreadsheet so that we want to kind of go over what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You just wanna take a break and come down for a few minutes?
That's a great way to put it. Tell them there's donuts.
And did you all see under email from Todd about the notice for Kurt? Did you get that?
just today?
Todd sent it out on Friday.
The terms and conditions,
Right.
Or,
3-day notice?
yeah,
Yeah.
Boy, that was quick.
good morning, how are you? Great, we just got a quick, the Cora stuff, put it on the back burner. Don't spend a whole lot of time on it,
I'm not,
okay?
I'm working on the USA Trust document.
There you go. That's kind of what we're going on that. That's the more important thing right now, rather than Cora's.
Yeah, I'm not gonna touch that until I'm told I
Yep.
need to.
Yep, perfect. How's the in-trust land looking? More or less?
I haven't done the summary yet, I'm still going from tab to tab, so that's, I've got each taxing unit, delineated, so I'm working on each taxing unit, and then I'll do the summary on it, so.
Okay. Sounds good. All right.
I'm
That was
177
basically, I
now.
wanted to make sure that was a priority rather than the Cora.
You're 177 of
210.
210.
Okay.
Well, that's the taxing unit, so about 8 or so.
I know you're busy. I
All right.
appreciate you working on
Is that,
this.
is
But,
that,
Yeah,
that was it?
that was it. That's all we
I'll
wanted.
have it done today,
Okay.
if you guys are gonna be here
We're
after
gonna be here on
lunch.
Friday. So,
Are you gonna be here after lunch, or are you heading out here?
if you're gonna have it done by lunch, or, when.
but we've still got to work on the other portion of this.
Yeah.
So,
No, you go ahead and go back to work, and, if we're gonna leave before, we'll let you know, and we'll talk to you on Friday, okay?
and
Yes.
yeah, it is, time flies when you have fun. And have a daughter,
Huh?
have a daughter.
Okay.
Thanks, Kim.
All right, thanks, Kate, appreciate it. All right, so other than that, well, Rob, what's he wanting again?
So he was wanting, updated information, case working on. Basically just additional acres have been put into USA Trust.
Right.
The other thing is what this year's budget is and what percentage or what numbers are going out, what we're allocating for, sheriff, all those different agencies, but what percentage.
Is actually being used for that, okay? And that's gonna be a rough guesstimate too, I mean,
Based on how we did that, do you remember when we did that 3 years ago?
sure she did, she's
Yeah.
since then.
Yeah. Because we were at what, around 30%? Is what we did?
Yeah,
And it had to be over 20%.
Right. That was the goal, was basically in the legislation, they had to pick, okay, is it 1% or 20%? And a good number, they felt like was, if you're using 20% of your overall budget for something that you're not getting taxes on, I mean, just between law enforcement and court services.
yeah.
So we just had a copy of the budget, I mean,
That's what I was saying, I'm just gonna lean on you a little bit.
I would say, I would think that maybe,
You wanna grab a copy of it and let's just kinda dive through it and see what we can come up with?
And at one time, I believe Tim was guesstimating, I don't want to put words in that, but I think he was guesstimating like over 50% of the cases
He felt like cases through court,
that he deals with
I
from
think they were closer to 80%.
80%, okay.
Yeah.
We need to kind of maybe pin him down on that, and then maybe see what Amy says from,
I'll call Tim real
From the
quick
board.
and just, touch base with him once you, looking for that.
and maybe we need to see if Amy can come down and kind of give us a heads up on what the percentage is, or she can start working on.
Yeah, I don't know that she was able to track that information. I think she can tell you what cases were regulated and that kind of stuff, but where they were arrested and how they, I think we were relying mainly on Tim for that,
Okay.
because he was the arresting authority. So basically, where they were coming from or where they were going to.
Sure.
And if it's casino related,
Well,
which is
yeah,
the
the
majority of
the
it.
one they just had this weekend was on 150th, so,
Yeah.
I don't know, it might be good to ask her if she has any way to poll that. I don't know.
So she wasn't here when we gathered that.
Jennifer, thank you. And it seems like Amy has a little bit better handle on things.
Yeah, she
So, I mean, we
can-
can ask her
yeah,
and
she
see if
can.
she can come down for a few minutes and see if we can give some information. Pretty color like now.
Hey, Keith. Hey, do you have just a minute or do I push you back on? Oh, okay.
so.
So our audience, just reach out to us if you want us to update, since we want our numbers of costs. I think it's very good. You make that, a lot of your cases that are generated, probably were 75–80% of were directly or indirectly related to casino and tribal. Is that still inaccurate? Yes. Yeah.
But this is the budget, doesn't have anything in it.
I don't either, I don't think this, I'm just really relying on your knowledge, that's basically a guesstimate. I don't know that there's any way to track, I know at one time you said, well, a lot of these cases, you know, let people, not even ask, kind of the lawyers know where the money comes from, the rest of the casino. Right. Right. But if you were guessing, at this point, an educated guess, it would be someone that's 75–80%. Okay, all right, that's really all I'm being promised. Paul said that, just in a few years, they want to just get the numbers of people that practical, value, or,
I might have an update.
that type of
You
thing.
what?
I might have an update.
Oh.
I think once the legislation is introduced,
So we know what we said last time. We know what we said last time.
come up on our side, what that value of,
Which probably wasn't you.
I'll go with that number, I'll go with 75. Yeah, I thought that. he would say for sure 75% of the cases that they deal with.
Amy,
Hello.
how are you?
My neighbor.
Want donut?
Chocolate makes it any better.
Caramel ones are my favorite.
Well, there you go, there's some in there. We just had, is there any way that you track or know or have a guesstimate of the number of cases that you handle through the court system that are directly or indirectly related to the casino or the trust? That's a loaded question, isn't it?
I will tell you, well, I don't want to judge, I don't want to bias you.
No, there's not a way to track it, it's like not a report I could run. But
Just a guesstimate, a gut feeling.
a lot, gut feeling might be on the high side, but I would say 70 to 75%. It's a lot, it's a
So-
lot.
So that's funny you said that because I just got off from Kim. And I said, where do you think that number applies? 75%. Because
And he wouldn't have any, he wouldn't know anything necessarily about any cases that come from the tribal department.
correct. And he asked his deputies, hey, where are you coming from, where are you going to? And he said, majority is to or from the casino.
Judge Campbell asks almost everyone that, or he'll say, what were you doing in Jackson County? Because, you know, a lot of people go to Shawnee County or Nebraska, or,
Sure.
and he'll say, what were you doing in Jackson County?
Okay.
And the reason we're asking is because, our lobbyists are asking us for an update from the December 3 year.
So we're working on evaluations of the casinos, golf course, what the Gaia and the manufacturing communities, the truck stop, the shopping center, all those things, we're gonna put value on those. And then add in what properties have been taken off the tax roll since 21 or 22, when we did the first one. And just try to get those numbers updated. At some point, if this legislation gets passed, I think we're going to get down to some numbers tighter. It may be just you maybe signing something that says, based on my experience, here's what I see. Just so that they don't think we're pulling stuff out of the air. I know Kim is one of the, that thing that really is coming up with a value in what tax dollars. We want the casinos valued $100 million plus. When you own it, you would be paying property tax on that. We want the same thing for the rest. So that's what we're trying to update. So you confirmed what we thought.
Yeah, that, like I said, that would be my guess. Judge Campbell would be another good person to ask, because,
Yeah, we may get him.
and Bethany or Amy,
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to face with them too.
see what they think, but that's where I would put it.
Yep, all right,
So
sounds
you
good.
confirmed what we were thinking, so I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you.
Gosh, they just scared me there, this, the commissioners want to see regarding the budget, and I was like, did I miss this?
You can still take that
Still
double.
working on it.
No, you're good, you're good.
All right,
All right.
sounds good. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
the offer, but I'm gonna pass.
Okay.
All right,
thanks,
appreciate it.
guys.
Yeah.
So 10 to 75%.
What do you think of the roofing company? The roofing outfit?
I'm not in agreement with you if you're actually inspecting and finding fault to do it. But I do remember in sitting through, some of the things that they, in Association of Counties, that they talk about how, you know, a good roofing inspection, you can get a cut from K-Camp.
Sure.
So I would really wanna, like I say, see how much of a savings we would have through K-Camp if we had a regular, either annual or biannual roofing inspection of all the roofs in the county. And, you know, if we're paying out a little bit, but I'm getting back in insurance premium cuts, I'm perfectly satisfied with that, even if it's a wash.
But do you think there's anybody locally around that does that?
I don't know.
I mean,
That's what we need, that's what we kind of need
the
to
only
find
thing
out.
somebody would come back with is, you know, and I don't know that either.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Midwest or whatever, and then you're doing the same thing. They're looking and, you know, finding fault, and they're saying, hey, you can fix this. So I don't know.
I always struggle with the inspectors, the guy that's gonna fix it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I agree.
Because if I'm a good inspector, I'll always find something wrong.
Sure.
I say that, that's what I have to run weird when they inspect my paper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know that too.
Well, like my insurance, when we had the roof replaced, insurance
Here's two, not very
had like a roofer come out and inspect it.
Yeah.
And that roofer did it.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
$23.226 million. But,
So what did you send them back earlier, like 2 years ago? You know,
it was, yeah, it was just what we paid, what our annual budget was, but then we broke it down. That's why I put it for the sheriff's department, what we were spending out of there. And but part of it, I think we looked at.
I just didn't know what you were doing, because I don't think I'm gonna do it.
Okay. You are here.
And there's the assistant minor and minor.
Yeah, not a problem.
And I go for one because I think I can find it tomorrow.
Just,
you know, because motor vehicle.
You what now?
You lose money in motor vehicle revenue.
Yes, we lose money motor vehicle revenue, you bet.
Tractor.
Yes, and that was one of them I was thinking of, yes, thank you for pointing that out, but we need to, that needs to be one that,
But see, I don't know
how do you calculate that?
yeah, I've never been able to figure out how to track that.
Only
Yeah,
when
because
you,
they do not, if Tim goes to look one of those up, they are not in any database that he has access to.
no, they are, they're
I was told they, I was told they
NCIC?
weren't.
NCIC,
I was told they were not.
like who?
I read that, so I wasn't told, I read that somewhere that those are not
I think
trackable.
they have contacted tribal.
Yeah, they are not trackable
Yeah, I think you're right.
through anything with state.
So,
State.
if you run once and once, NCIC,
Uh-huh.
on a private tag, it's not gonna be in that,
Nope,
known felon?
nope. That's my understanding of it, it will not be in there.
That's a little.
Yep. That's like if they've had 10 DUIs out there, they run through tribal court, you'll never see them outside of that.
Right, but if it's gone through state court, it will.
Yes.
It has to, you're right. If our sheriff arrests them, it's gonna go through, it's gonna be in.
But if you run the tag, you're not gonna come back to those 10 that have been run through tribal court.
It'd be associated with that tag though. If I pull over Prairie Man 123,
If you do, but if
That's
it's
what I'm
gone
saying.
through tribal court.
no,
it will
I
not.
get that. I get the whole tribal court thing. What I'm saying is, if Tim pulls somebody over with a tribal tag, now there's going to be a track record that that tag is
Yes.
connected to this speed ticket.
But what I'm saying is, so you never know that they've got 10 DUIs.
You may not know the true history of
Yes.
the individual
Yes.
associated with that.
Yes.
You'll know any state.
Any state or county, yeah. Yeah. And so with this then, we're losing money on our 911 fee too, right? With the land not being,
Let's see, yeah, that's a 911 fee truck.
I just saw that, I
Like
remember asking, so.
75% charge for.
I don't know.
I guess it was cents per house.
Yeah, it's so much per household, I'm not sure.
Comes in.
The guy that's in charge of 911 out there, sheriff should be able to. Wonder if,
Maybe Bruce.
Bruce Fox.
but I wonder if, what's her name?
Janelle?
Yeah, Janelle Lockwood, she handles all that. Doesn't she? I mean, she's got to handle it.
So that money just gets wired in. Yeah, there's something to tell you.
Well, I seen on page 11, I believe is where it is.
So
It just shows 911 fee.
they estimated 100,000.
Like I say, it doesn't really tell you how that comes about.
That's been here forever, so that would have been probably the 70s.
See, we used to get a check from all the different phone companies.
And there was actually a resolution.
Yeah, ages ago.
This is just saying 75% okay, I can find you resolutions for this, the 75 cents. Let's see, amount not to exceed 75 cents per month for an exchange access line.
So see, that would be then, that'd be landlines, wouldn't it? Or are they doing it on cell phones now too?
Oh, it's on cell phones now too.
Is it? What's up, buddy?
Not a whole lot. We just gotta wonder why we got the Circleville Road closed up there all winter long. Normally, we would, when I worked for the county, we'd get all the locates done before we even.
We did.
What happened?
They located wrong. And we stopped digging when we found the line. And the locate was like 6 feet off.
We had to get our attorney involved, they wouldn't come out. Yeah, it was.
It's turned into a mess, and it's Brightspeed who located wrong. And from what I understand, they located a copper line. This is a fiber line. They didn't even locate the fiber line.
Okay.
So we stopped, and they were supposed to be out the first week of December and move it. And they never showed. And they never showed, and they never showed. So finally, we instructed the county councilor, send them a letter, tell them either get out and move it, or we'll move it for you.
Okay.
And I told Road and Bridge, I said, you know, from now on, if they didn't locate it, it's on them, not us.
Well.
Dig it up and do your job.
Yeah. Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
that's why. I'm not happy about it either, Roy.
That's all.
They're supposed to be working on it this week, right?
Yeah, they're supposed to be backfilling on it this
Well,
week, and hopefully, if they
Yeah,
can get in and do it.
Matt can get in there and start putting backfill in,
Yeah.
but you can't do it as long as it's frozen clumps.
Well, I was gonna say, you can't do
Yeah.
anything while it's frozen.
Right,
So we're
as soon as-
hoping,
As soon as it's compatible, he'll start putting it
They're just
back.
gonna put a big tube in there.
no, there's a bridge.
It's gonna be a rubber bridge that
Yeah.
goes back in
The
there.
bridge has been bought for a year and a half.
Okay.
Sitting on the ground in Nebraska for a year and a half, but the Historical Society would not let us take the bridge out because it was a historical bridge.
Well, the stone arch wasn't, I didn't think so.
It wasn't stone, it was concrete.
Yeah. What's historical about concrete?
I don't know. It would be both. Like I say, I'm not a happy camper about that, but we did what we could do. And as soon as they found a replacement that they would accept, then we got started on the bridge.
School buses gotta go around.
Yep.
People that gotta go around, get to
Yep.
Jackson Heights and everything
Oh,
else.
I know. Yeah, I'm not a happy camper about that.
Okay, all right,
But no, that's the reason why.
all right.
All
There you go.
right. See you later. Yeah. So the 75 cents per line is on cell phones also? So I would guess then that would be a moot point on the 911 fees. I would guess. I'm trying to look up, it doesn't want to say anything. But if it's on every, if it was on every exchange, and it's on cell phones also,
So much on all.
Yeah, because
Then it's on
when
every-
it started, you know, we didn't have the cell phones, it was the landlines, and we got.
Is that printing?
Did you print?
I'm gonna print something else, but
Checks from all
that's a
the
test page.
phone companies.
yeah.
And then gradually it changed, and then we went to cell phones too, I know that.
Okay, so I would say 911 is kind of a moot point then.
Yeah, it probably is.
I don't understand why towers are free.
Well, I can't really go to print. This one. this off, and if it does, you can make a couple copies for the other two commissioners. That would shed some light on the previous numbers.
Can you send it upstairs? Can you send it upstairs?
Okay.
Can you send it up to?
Email, just up to,
Yeah, if you send it up to Mary, I don't know what's wrong with this thing.
Do you need me something?
If I shake it, I got tongue coming out.
Oh,
I don't think it's good,
just
because it's just not threatening, and it doesn't feel empty.
the only thing is on 911, when you build a house, you have to go get a 911 address.
How about this? I'm gonna forward this whole email. You don't have to.
Oh, no, I didn't bring it.
Okay.
Do you want to try to print one more time, kind of show it up, see if that helps?
Yeah.
That's gonna kill me.
And they wouldn't have a 911.
Ready?
Yep.
Based on this, the estimated tax loss for Jackson County is $4,240,000. On top of this, the amount of services we provide to tribal land is estimated at $1,400,000, blah, blah, blah. With a total budget, that out of $18,000,004, the tax loss provided combined equals $5,078,000. This amount would impact 31% of the physical cost here with zero compensation. So this was the one pager that we put together. Now, you keep on. I get it on. All right.
So this is what you said before.
So this was what he took in when he met, basically, giving all the information in one page class. Now, how we arrived at that, the top number would be through Kate, and then the second number would be what we derived from Kenny's budget, road and bridge, court services, for a total of 5,600,000. So if we can update that, and maybe, I don't know, Christie, you tell me, between the budget then, which was 18,000,004, and what our budget is today, do you think the percentage difference between those two numbers, would you just increase these by that same percentage? Or is that not accurate enough? You know what I mean? So, like it's gone up 8%, our budget's gone up 8% over the last
I
year.
would think you could, I mean, I don't know why that wouldn't work.
Thoughts, Linda?
Yeah, it sounds right to me. Went off with that from the sheriff.
So maybe we just do that instead of, because again, if this legislation is passed, then they're gonna want to sit down with this and they're gonna want to get an exact number. These numbers are probably gonna be different, probably on the higher side because we're gonna have the opportunity to value buildings that now we are not allowed to go into. We'll be able to value them, and then give them a rating at 12.5% of commercial property, and that's what it would be. So, I think they're just wanting to know what our budget really has gone up over the last few years. And we can put in there that in conversation with Tim, our sheriff, and in conversation with, Amy, the head of our court services, they believe that number of cases is 75% directly, indirectly related to trial law.
And I was just looking up here, as far as valuation numbers, the Kansas Star Casino down in Mulvane, That was valued at 109 million, is what that was valued at.
And it's about that big compared to ours.
Compared to ours, yeah. But it just showed the Kansas Star Casino, it did not show the hotel. They were trying to see if I can dig some numbers out on the Hampton Inn Suites
I would-
associated with that, but I can't quite bring it in together.
I bet, I would guessing that facility with the RV park, the hotel, convention center, is probably in that 250 to 300 million range.
Oh, yeah.
And then the golf course is probably in like 50.
Mm-hmm.
Then you factor in what Gaia and
Yeah,
truck
and the
stop.
new things that are gonna go in that are off the reservation, yeah. Yep.
And this was done when? What year?
This was done, 3/16 of 23 was when I got the email.
Yeah, so do you think we'll see what Peters Creek come up with?
I'm gonna print another one over there. And this is one that Lee updated and redlined. I think it's actually worded a little better. But it still gives the same information. 4.6, that's a 25% over those years.
Gotcha.
So, it'd be like accurate. Which is the way I calculated, I just wrote it under set height, so if you were calculating, to get what percentage is on 18.4 to 2022, is that what you were
I
calculating?
think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just when you look at what those services are, they're going up 25% more over the last.
Which basically makes sense.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm.
Yeah, those are all tax dollars you lose interest on too. Anything.
Okay.
Increased it by 26%, which is another 275,000. So if we have Christie put together this on our letterhead, these numbers, the 26% increase in budget, 26% increase, and then we'll forward that on the bottom.
Yeah, I think that'd be,
Kate gets that together.
and then whatever Kate comes up with, yeah, okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
I know she's in the middle of evaluation.
Yeah.
And I called her on Friday, and said, hey, we'll do this.
Well, that's what I wanted to make sure she put that forward request on the back burner. We'll worry about that later.
Okay.
We've already answered them, so.
for some of the treasurer's office, because I remember
I
looking
should
at
buy.
five, I was gonna say, that there was some, I think some of them needed replaced last year, and I didn't do it, we just waited.
So we, I mean, I'm just looking here, so your treasurer's tech fund, which is where that probably came out, right?
She
So,
could, yeah, her capital outlay.
Or capital outlay, last $8,200 a year.
Yeah.
Unless they're computers.
Don't know what the register fees needs.
They're probably up to date, registered deeds is probably bought, new stuff, I don't think.
No, I think they had two on there. They had
Oh, did they?
The counter one, which.
Oh,
Okay, well, there again, they've got 28,000 in their tech fund.
yeah,
Clerks,
everybody.
the clerks, we
every-
don't dip into the clerk's fund, just take it all up there.
I mean,
All in favor,
everybody
say
should,
aye.
everybody should
Outlay money.
have outlay money, or even the
Yeah.
registered deeds, has their tech money too.
Yeah, and that, well, that's what I'm looking at, tech fund for the registered deeds is 28, clerks is 25. You were kind of lagging behind me.
Because I would
She's
spend
spending
out of
it.
mine, when I bought printers and stuff, I would spend out of mine. So
But
y'all
I did
can,
now.
so y'all can come in and take it. I would spend out of,
That's what I bought my printers and my IPDS cards out of.
right, like I say, I would buy printers and stuff. Yeah, because we had replaced printers up there,
Yeah, I remember.
yeah.
Let's see.
So now, when you order computers, will you go through?
They
them?
were going to put together a bid going through Dell. And then send it off here to see. where we're at.
Then if they're going to put together a bid for that, I would make sure that included in that bid is them coming down, setting everything up, getting everything online and going. That is what I would do.
I mean, unless it's a lot of money. I mean,
Well,
if
I
they're-
understand that, but I mean, there again, we're gonna be taking Erin out of the office to do all that, so,
that's what she did for.
but I think we ought to look into that too, because that was supposed to be in the original contract.
Okay.
Apparently, it didn't get put in. It doesn't say what.
Yeah.
And so, we actually need them to come on site to do what? Because, did you tell me that they could,
Every office can set up their own computer.
but you told me they could transfer, I mean, you could,
We
over
would
the
have to have our
phone,
computers set up and then they would have to dial in.
they could dial in and do that.
And then they could remote in.
Okay, they can remote in and do it.
And they won't have to have.
So is that a separate charge?
That is, no, that is in the
That's in the
contract, I
contract?
do believe.
And we have to have the, on in. Again. Which sometimes runs into a problem here, if they can both coincide and do it at the same time, they can both use it.
Well, I thought that was what the problem was the last time, is that they couldn't coordinate
Oh,
between that
yeah,
was
do it at the same time.
them down there, or when we were switching over, or
Just when we're
something.
switching over.
Yeah, which kind of turned into a convoluted mess with three of them trying to get things done, so we might get a little bit better this time.
Let's see. there's one.
So with the UTVs, watercrafts, airplanes, all that good stuff, coming off supposedly, I don't think it's passed yet, but from what I've understood, it's a pretty good chance it will. That's for 26, right? Yeah. Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, we'll put taxes on one more year.
They never made any mention in the legislative forum about any of the taxes that were used to support, WERF
There wasn't any,
being removed.
there wasn't any mention of, that.
they're not gonna bring that up.
Well, that, they might not bring it up, but I push for that in the Kansas Association of Counties legislative platform, that if we ain't got them, then they need to get rid of them.
I got it.
About 30.
30?
And, you know, I forgot that 1620 trucks are for personal property, so those are high, so you might not lose as much personal property as what I'm thinking.
30?
Computers need replaced, really?
I thought we were supposedly on a list to where they were getting replaced, you know, a few at a time each year.
I thought
Isn't
Tim
that
was,
what,
Tim was usually after it.
so we wouldn't get hit with a big number like this? I thought that
Why
was.
why did they say that there's so many that need to be replaced?
They said if we don't have them replaced by, I think, September, they'll no longer be,
Support.
if they're running Windows 10.
They get an upgrade from Windows 10?
Let's say, I mean, why replace a computer if you can just update the software?
I don't know the answers to those questions. She's on that other meeting, so I'll talk to her. Cameron. Okay, can you tell her about the insurance office? She met with them last week when I was sick.
She went.
Met with them last week when I was on the computer.
Oh, gotcha.
Were they up here?
No, it wasn't.
Have they actually ever came up here?
Not to my knowledge. I met with them over Zoom, so I don't know that.
Had Tim ever actually met them? Just sort of.
And then just over time.
Okay.
So I'm a little disappointed because that was one of the big things that I thought that we had said we wanted was on-site, and you said I was gonna be here in 45 minutes.
Really?
I do remember having that conversation.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't think if they have to upgrade the computers, I mean, I think they want to keep the monitors.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
There would be a need to upgrade those.
But I'm still trying to figure out, unless the computers are so outdated that they won't run the new software, but I just can't hardly feature that.
Well, see, we've got 10 Pro and 11 Pro. And what Aaron said was that Windows 10 would no longer be supported.
Okay. So what's the next step from
And
Windows
see,
10?
I think all the computers, excuse me, come loaded already with all that. Can you do the software update?
Yeah. Should be able to.
So why couldn't they just do that?
And that's what I do at home.
Yeah.
It's update the software.
Windows 10 Pro, you said?
Yeah, that's another piece.
Upgrade to Windows 11 from Windows 10 free.
And maybe I
Next step up
misunderstood,
is-
maybe that's what she's saying, is they need to upgrade the software.
And that'd be, that's great, yeah. You can upgrade directly to Windows 11 from Windows 10 Pro if your device meets minimum hardware requirements. What's the minimum
But
hardware?
except your list that you were looking at, so did it say no replace computers? I was thinking that we had a list once upon a time. Because after they were so old, you were supposed to replace
What the 10 was,
the box, the whatever,
right, the hardware.
the hard drive.
And I know that
That's only if it's not big enough. I mean, for heaven's sakes, hard drive, and it'll go until it crashes.
Aaron and Mary would be my next two. But I know Tara's on Windows 10 also.
See, I think, how many we showed in the treasure box? I know one of my guess was, I think Lisa was.
You, Lisa, Shannon, Charlie.
Windows 10 device will be created with meets the following criteria. The device is currently running the supported version of Windows 10, which all of ours should be.
Sarah, Shannon, Jamie, Lisa.
Let's see, Tim Foster was we needed to replace them after, what, was it 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, they,
I know where you're coming from, it didn't make sense to me till it crashed, but
as long as they're backed up, I run until they crash.
I know. I don't,
But we still want them to crash it.
I don't know if
As
I
long as they
can
can, as long as they can keep updated.
You don't want to crash.
But you know what I'm saying.
I think there's a lifespan of hardware device. I think that's.
yeah, I think that's what he was getting at, I'm not sure, but he had it all. Because sometimes I didn't think we probably needed to replace them, but we did. Because
Lisa
that
will have
was-
6, 7.
Yeah, after October 14, 2025, Microsoft will no longer provide free software updates from Windows Update, technical assistance, or security fixes for Windows 10. Your PC will still work, but we recommend moving to Windows 11. Okay.
Which sometimes is not fun.
But some, and there are, and I will agree that sometimes, an older PC will, due to hardware that they have in them, will not support an upgrade to the next step. You know, there'll be so many that it will do, and they will not support the upgrade to the next step, mainly due to memory size, things like that, having the machine.
And I figure the 2 in my office are at least 7 years old probably. Because it was Kathy and Tara, and me and Sal, me and Sal were the last. No, Tara and Kathy were the last, so it would be Sal, like, total cost.
So we might just be looking at software updates rather than the whole machine to replace that. But if you have machines that are 8 years old in your office, then those are the ones that probably should be
Right.
looked at being replaced.
So I think Tim kept saying always 5 years.
And to me, 5 years is a little iffy.
True. Which you can probably tell, I mean, you know, we had one of Shannon's computer. You know, when we're having problems, you can tell sometimes that, okay,
Yeah.
it's probably getting towards the end.
Well, Mary definitely is going to. Like her and
Like I said, if those two are,
those
you
two
know,
need.
7 to 8 years old,
Right.
then yeah, I would look at replacing those. But every 5 years to me is a little bit too much.
Well, sometimes all of a sudden you know something like the latches.
Yeah.
Okay, my kid's having problems and does that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on.
Step out 13 minutes.
Yeah, they're not something Looks like some that would be in your office are about the same.
See, I thought I had it upstairs, you know. No, I thought so. Well, I'm pretty sure because Lisa's the one who had that spreadsheet. I remember us going over it, and I remember, because I had said, we went at my desk, and I did it, but I'm like, I'm gonna be leaving, you just as well wait until I'm gone and put your one here. But I think she had a spreadsheet in the drawer up there.
Kelly will mark you.
Oh, that's fine. I was busy with homestead stuff.
So the update that I think halfway said, was that actually replacing the hardware or just the software?
The computer, it was the whole computer,
What was the reason?
because it's no longer being serviced after October 14th of this year.
The software is no longer being serviced.
Yeah.
So
And it
we can
costs just
upgrade
as
to-
much to upgrade the package is probably as the best buy a new computer that already has the operating system on it.
I'd look into that because if the computer's only 5 years old, it really says, in my opinion, upgrade.
Yeah.
7 or 8 years old, like a couple of years are, yes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, they're getting
3,
us
4,
some,
5 years?
they're getting us some quotes put together. However, apparently this was relayed last year to another IT person,
Okay,
so.
yeah, like I say, I would recommend looking into what it's going, if the computer's 3, 4, 5 years old, then I would look at what it's going to cost to upgrade, and it shouldn't cost anything. Upgrades to Windows 11 from Windows 10 are free, and that's straight from Microsoft support. So if we can upgrade them, more the better, but if you have computers that are out there that are on the end of life cycle, my end of life cycle has always been 7, 8 years old. So, then yeah, we'll look to get those replaced, but if it's just an upgrade situation, I'd say let's look at getting them upgraded and go from there. That would be my opinion.
What are the average ages of these?
I honestly haven't done any,
They didn't.
no, I did this
So-
call Friday or Thursday morning and then I took Friday off, so I just put it to the back burner. I know.
What, that blew you away so bad, can't they?
So, when, we'll fast forward, we'll say that all these new laptops or CPUs come in, can you handle getting them online so they can remote in and then do whatever they need to do to get them set up?
That's gonna come down to how the contract brief is to, if any installation stuff is wrote into that.
I don't know.
Because, like, for instance, we just got 3 new printers in our office, and it was, well, we'll just drop them in your IT people can install them, and it's like, no, actually, in the contracted agreement of purchase, it's in there for you guys to install them. So, that's what we need to look at, is just see
Yeah,
what's,
that's what we need to double check on. Like I say, I thought
yes.
that was already supposed to have been in there, but
But and it also depends on when it would be executed, because if we have a primary in August, I don't have time to install computers. You know, like that
So are
doesn't
they gonna
work.
come do your printers or
Printers are installed,
they gonna install?
they installed them Thursday afternoon.
So, like,
what fee?
you did it,
No.
so you did it over the phone?
Logan installed, they
Remote?
came up.
Logan installed.
Oh, Logan installed. Oh, yeah, Logan does that, yes, they're very good about that.
And then I have admin password credentials to where I can add the drivers and stuff that we needed to make everything go smoothly.
Yeah, that's what they're, Logan's good about it.
Yes.
But if the new computers come in and it's not a primary, you have the ability to get them online.
You're talking about 31 computers that is on that list. That's a lot for one
Yeah,
person.
that's why
I'm
I'm
just saying, that's a lot for one person to do while maintaining my other position, like, you see
Okay.
what I'm saying? Like, doing like 1 or 2, like, that's nothing big. You're talking about 30 computers throughout the entire county, like,
Honestly, I don't know why each department can't pull them out, pick them up, and then call in, because all you're doing is getting your.
Well, that's what I was about to say,
Yeah.
I mean, if
Yeah, but there are people out there that can't get them online, so that they can remote in. You would be able to assist them with
One
that.
thing that I did talk to them about was, we need to see what the cost is, because it should have been in the contract, for them to be on site, you know, a
It
couple
was
of
supposed
times.
to be.
Yes, and I voiced that to them very heavily when I spoke to them on Thursday about we need to figure this out. Because like when we did all that onboarding on, whenever I was sworn in that day, I wasn't at my desk at all that day, just running around trying to help everybody with their computers when we should have had IT actors here that day.
Maybe we need a revised contract or something.
I would definitely look into that. They are doing some back-end stuff and we're getting some stuff put together to see what we can do going forward.
Okay.
So,
I just don't know, I would think that if we have new terminals, new computers, new whatever, that they would be, it would have been in here to install, so. That oversee.
I did not ever see it in there. It should have been in there.
Okay, but am I wrong? Okay, let's just say I got a new computer. I go in, I set up my hard drive, which basically is gonna be what we have, because it's gonna be monitors.
Yep.
I'm still gonna have my same IP address, so there's no reason I can't go, okay, I've got my hard drive plugged in, you can log in now, and you can do the rest of it. But they should be able to still, since we're not changing IP addresses, they should be able to come in under that IP address.
So, really, I mean, there's surely somebody in each office that can kind of, you know, if you walk them, guide them through one, that they should be able to take care of the other. So,
One would, yes.
yeah, I mean, you know, you think.
The only problem I see with that is consistency and making sure that things are being set up consistently. And across the board. You know, there's a lot of people that think they can turn a computer on and set it up. And may think they're doing the right thing, but they're not.
Right.
So I guess the security portion of things, yeah, IP pathways can come in and get remote in somehow, that would be great.
Yeah. Because they're even talking about how we have to copy everybody's profiles and save them somewhere, so that way everything's where it's like. Just doing 31 computers is gonna be a full-time job,
Yeah.
and that's just not. That's a lot.
Because you and I are the only two that can really do it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So when did they think they had the estimate back and break it in?
I didn't, they're planning to come out here pretty soon, so I'm imagining they'll be presenting it to us then, so.
Okay.
So they're actually gonna come out with.
Well, I would think if they're looking at doing, if they're trying to sell us 30 computers, that somebody would come out and talk face to face and not.
Well, so they are getting us a quote for depth, they aren't selling, like, it's not a
Right.
markup situation.
Well, I understand that, but
And-
they'll get a pretty healthy discount for 30 computers through them.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
I can tell you it is, the number that, I think he shot off like 1,500 a computer, or something, it was something minor compared to what we paid Networks Plus for.
Is that right?
Because I looked back to see what we paid for Christie's, and it was like, that was like $700-800 cheaper than what we paid Networks Plus for.
And are those a laptop or are those a box, desktop?
Depends on the needs of the individual. Like me, I don't need a docking station with a laptop,
But I want Mary to have a dog.
because I can't do my job outside of the office, so there's absolutely no reason
Right.
for me to have one,
Right.
you know? That's my opinion on it. Like even the treasurer's office, you can't do any of that stuff outside the office, so there's no reason for them to have document stations.
No, we just ended up with the asphalt.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd like Mary to have one for payroll. just
Which
in
makes
case
sense,
She's
sure.
gonna have bad weather or something, she can have it for I will say that IP Pathways, that then is a lot nicer than those places. It's way easier to get in, I don't have any trouble when I take my computer from the deal. Networks Plus, I have to keep calling, and I'm like, well, it's your internet, no, it's not. This one just logs me right in.
All right, well, keep up to date on what's going on there, and like I said, in 30-inch shot, it wasn't supposed to be like that, it was just supposed to be.
Yeah, it's because of the operating systems.
Oh, I understand that, but if the machines that we have right now will not handle the operating system, okay, fine, I can understand, but I can't imagine 30 of them
Yeah.
right off the bat that says, well, it won't handle Windows 11. I just don't see that,
Yeah.
so.
I would say there's a few.
Well, and I had talked to Christy before we even had this conversation with them, that, like, I know I need a new computer. I'm just sitting there spinning today, my
And Mary
computer.
is too.
Sure.
Yeah, it kicked my printer off today, and yeah, it's been,
Well, as Christian said, yours and Mary's are, 7, 8 years old. 7, 8 years old is about, the lifeline or lifetime that I used to go off.
I know.
well, and I told him, like, we don't need new monitors or anything like that.
No.
I just need the,
I know Road Bridge was, their two office, their computers, they're gonna update those, but part of their problem why theirs were not working correctly is because there's so much crap on there. I mean, there was 3,000 pictures on this one, they dumped in, so they're taking old stuff off, putting it on flash drives and saving that, but that's speeding their computers up.
Sure.
oh yeah.
Why is yours spinning?
Why is mine spinning? Because it did an update while I was gone. Because I was running just
Yeah.
fine before I left, like, that's
It
just
didn't-
how,
It didn't update?
no,
It did update.
it did update, like something,
Our
that's why,
computer always has issues after they do an update.
yeah,
And so what do they say about it?
it's my computer, like, I need a new computer. It's at its max lifespan.
And like I say, to me, that had always been 7 or 8 years, something like that, not
How old
4 or
was
5.
yours?
Probably about 7 years,
Yeah.
partner and both.
Okay.
Like, do you have a spreadsheet? I'm pretty sure Lisa had a spreadsheet down in her desk drawer that had, I thought it had all the offices.
I'll have to ask them.
Ask
I thought there was a spreadsheet that was to
And
maintain.
it showed the computers, when they needed replaced.
That's just what I was looking for.
Where they
I know
are,
there
where
was-
it's at, I have no
I know there
idea.
was one somewhere, but I know Lisa had it in our office because that was kind of.
services that are considered to be out of scope and therefore billed separately include but are not limited to the following. Deployment of new covered user devices such as desktop, laptops, and thin clients, so it's not covered. Implementation and updates of non-server software for the customer environment that at IP Pathways discretion is considered a mass deployment activity and is recommended to be performed as a dedicated project under a separate agreement. Well, that would be mass deployment, in my opinion.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, it sounds like if we are going to get him to come down and do that, that it would be a separate agreement that we'll have to negotiate with him. Just a heads up. Would you want to wait on Kate? Do you want to wait till Friday? What you guys want to do?
Yeah,
I don't want to rush her. I'd say let's just wait till Friday and call it good.
That's fine.
And then I'm gonna email out when I get home, letting know we're working on it. We have the percentage upgrade of it one pager.
Yeah, and let him know that I still have not heard anything back from KDOT on if they want them to start asking for money at the federal level for acquisition and planning. So,
I think it's interesting. Scott, when we talked to, the guy from Franklin,
guy from Horton, the engineer out of Horton,
he said, told Scott that he didn't think that he would be thinking about doing anything on 75, just 30 or 31.
that wasn't what I read. So who knows?
Yeah. They were asking about possibly moving, the road goes through there, they're gonna have to move from the bridge. I simply said, it may not hurt to start not actively looking, but just be observant.
Yeah.
Is there another place that it can be moved to? I don't think it's gonna be that.
This one is gonna be out too.
This point in time, they've got somebody interested in it.
Really?
I just don't know who
Yeah.
or what. That was interesting, I got a phone call from Ted, Pepsi,
Mm-hmm.
and when he was working, I was driving my son on, it's like, Sitting back, yeah, sure,
Yeah, you can tell us if he wants to.
just to see, he said, why don't you see if there's anything we can do, for you guys. We don't have big parks that we travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need vending machine then.
I don't think you would look.
I know.
All right.
It's interesting.
Well, Kristen, anything else? Anything you want to put on the website? I can't think of anything to throw out.
We have to back Friday.
Be back Friday. Work session and with Scott on the roads and bills. Okay. I accept the motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Been properly moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Meeting adjourned.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye. Welcome.
See you later.